Okay, we're fine.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Now we have item 8.2.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Item 8.2, forgiveness of specific 2019 Tet Parade unexpected costs. The reason that Vice Mayor Ho and I,
Mayor, can I,
please.
I attended the meeting. I was assigned as a spokesperson, and I attended the meeting. I know my roles and responsibility once I was assigned as a spokesperson. And when there was a meeting call for that, I was there. It's just a little bit surprise to me that I also saw Councilmember Doe there. And I don't know, before I report, do you want to report it, or you want me to go ahead and report it?
I was there to make sure that you was there, sir, because I know that you're supposed to be there. You know that I left very early.
I'm
right?
sorry. I know exactly what I do, okay? I don't need you to be there and then go out and police me, okay? All right. Let me tell you that, I was at the meeting, and they started out by thanking our staff for patiently working with them, which is a nice comment that they brought up on that day. And I want to relay that message to all the staff, that they appreciate you for being there and working very hard. They also mentioned about despite that they're still working on the revenue and the expenses. They report that I believe that the number is about 7,000 negative. And they brought up a point that, because of the delay and the city staff have to work extra hours, and the closure for the road closure is also, may add the expenses. So they projected that it costs probably from $5,000 to $15,000. So those are the things that I want to relate it to you as attending the meeting. There were a couple of questions from the media, and I would like to let you know about that too. Number one, they were asking that first of all, with the concerns from the organizers, what is my opinion on that? And of course, as a spokesperson assigned by the City Council, and it's very clear on that day that the City Council and the Mayor said that I only attended to the meeting and bring back the whatever that discussed. So I respond to them that I can't make the decision myself. All I do is a spokesperson for the City Council, and I will bring it back, and today I bring it back to your attention. The second question is that what do you think that the City Council is going to grant the permission for the organizer, for the same organizer, and what percentage of it? Again, I said to them that since the last meeting until this meeting, I have not gone back and I have not seen the agenda as yet. Therefore, I don't even know who has put in the application, including the organizers that just organized the event. And at the same time, I said I have no decision to make on that. So it's very clear that I want to report back to the Mayor and the City Council as my roles and responsibility that you sent me there as a spokesperson, as you assigned me for spokesperson for the TED event, for the parade event.
Thank you so much for your report. The reason that Vice Mayor Ho and we scheduled this item in our agenda and right now the item in front of us, because we all aware that there was a heavy rain on the day of the parade, so there was a delay, and we completely understood with the organizing committee they had to delay the parade. They had to, and from our city, we had to go. We went to along with the delay, and there were some unexpected costs that concur. And as a member from City Council, I totally understood something unexpected happened. That's why Vice Mayor Ho and I, we had an item on the agenda to ask City Council to forgive or to waive the unexpected cost to the parade organizing committee, because I really appreciate that. I understand that the parade is really important to the community, and members from the community, they work really hard to organize the parade. So that's why I hope that City Council will join me and Vice Mayor Ho to forgive the unexpected cost.
I have a question. I have a question. This is the first time I heard about this unexpected cost. How do you get this information?
I asked staff the day after the parade.
Okay.
Right after the parade.
And do we get the detail of the unexpected costs? Talking about police personnel or public service, or what's the breakdown on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So may I have staff, any staff that could able to come up to respond? I appreciate that. Okay, Assistant City Manager.
So yes, Councilman, the anticipated cost before the start of the parade was $58,000, which was actually the amount of the deposit that was taken in. The event organizers did pay that prior to the event. We did break down the cost as it related to both the traffic controls that TMI did, and then also the staff costing that we incurred with regards to having police staff out, public works staff out to make sure the site was safe, and then also to have code enforcement officers there, and then also various management personnel to just make sure that the parade ran according to plan. When we backed out all of those costs and looked at what exactly the overages were, it came out to about $9,000 over that $58,000 cost. And then when we were able to go back and back out the cost of what was originally anticipated within that $58,000, we came to the calculation that $6,000 of that was actually internal cost to the city versus $3,000, which was actually external cost to the to TMI for the additional time that they had to have the streets closed, or the amount of staffing that it took to actually pick up all of the barricades after the parade was over. So it was just a little bit of time overage.
Just a second, sir. When did the city, when did we inform the TED parade organizer of that additional cost? When did we do it?
That I am not sure about.
So they did not know?
This is part of an internal calculation that we have been working on.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I just try to understand the whole thing.
So we received the information late last week from the actual TMI company about the overage costs as it relates to all the overtime costs. That took us some time to calculate, and what they're referring to are the estimations of the overage.
Okay, so late last week, like Thursday?
Thursday, yes.
Thursday. Let me ask you this, Councilmember Charlie Nguyen. When you went to the TED, the press conference with the TED organizer, did they let you know that how much money was a cost overrun or unexpected cost that happened?
I think I mentioned it around $7,000, and they even though they have not finalized their budget calculation, they, as far as the revenue and the expenses, they projected that the negative is about $7,000, and also they were thinking that because of the overtime with the road closure, I repeat it again, they projected this cost of around $5,000 to $15,000. And that's exactly what I have, and I just, related the information.
Okay, so they knew of that unexpected cost. Did the city gonna bill them because of the rain and the delay and all?
I don't know that they expecting it. It's not that they knew that the city is. I don't know whether the city is going to bill them or not. I have no idea. I just know that they expecting that, and they make that statement.
Okay, so they make that statement, but from the city, the assistant city manager, Mr. Simon, we don't know when we let them notify them of the unexpected cost.
To my understanding, I don't think that there's a meeting tomorrow to actually discuss that cost.
Okay.
The numbers that I presented were numbers that we worked out internally. It would be last Thursday.
Okay. Yeah. One of my concern is this is the first time I hear about this unexpected cost. And for some reason, the mayor and the vice mayor know about it, and I don't know if any other member of the city council know about this. So that's my concern. So if the mayor and the vice mayor know about this, I think as a whole council should be notified.
I have not talked to anybody yet. I've waited until this time because I hold my standard to report at the city council. That's what I was assigned. So I don't know that you guys know about it.
I think that that's the reason why that we have the item scheduled in agenda, so it's open to all the members from the city council and members from the public to understand there were unexpected costs because right after the parade, I've been in parade every year, so I understand. And this year parade there was a heavy rain on that day, and that was a delay. So right the day after the parade, I asked city staff. I believe there should be some unexpected cost because there was delay at least in a few hours. And I asked city staff to look into it, and they came back with the.
Who was the city staff that you asked, sir?
Assistant city manager.
Okay, Mr. Simon. Okay.
Yes. And again, whenever there is an event that appears that there is going to be a cost overrun, that city staff does analysis to find out what exactly those costs would be. But as I said, we hadn't actually gotten to the bottom of that cost until Thursday of last week.
Well, I support this item agenda, but I have the problem with the communication. So things like this, I think we should be notified. If you let the mayor and vice mayor know, I expect to know.
And I think that's a fair request.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor Ho.
Yes, I believe this is through experience. We know that because, number one, there was a delay in starting the parade. So from experience, we know that the mayor and I know that there's a cost overrun because they were only covered up to, I'm sorry, may I ask Chet, is it up to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock? And because of the delay, it delayed us a couple hours because we all were stuck on that bus, so we knew we witnessed it, we were part of it. So there's no guessing here when it started, and we always know that there's when you estimated was $58,000, you also knew that was for a specific time range.
Well,
when was it supposed to end?
We do build in what I'll call some leeway within those estimates, simply because we know that in the past that the event hasn't started on time or has run long, or there's been other events. It's just in this particular instance, there was cost overrun that went over the estimate.
But usually, I'm asking for the time range. Usually it goes up to what, 1 o'clock, or is it 2 o'clock?
I believe between 1:30 and 2:30 is kind of our norm.
Yeah, I think you would know, Diana Dauber. Usually is it like up to 1 or 1:30? I know there's a time frame that $58,000 goes from up until 1:30 or something like that, until you open up the streets.
Yeah, and that's more of as it relates to the crew that's out there, how long it takes them to remove all that equipment, the time frame. We typically have in previous years been open streets between 1 and 2. I think you're accurate by saying that. And there was a slight delay this year as a result of the rain.
So the delay, you knew that morning there would be a delay, right, because of the rain. So
Yes.
for those involved and people who've been, involved in this TET parade, who, even before I was on council, I was involved in the parade. So we all know that there was going to be a delay. So there's no way it was going to be there was not, because obviously, as I said, we were stuck on the bus for at least an hour and to wait it out until the rain subsided, like around 9 o'clock. That's when we started, and we should have started at what time? 8 o'clock or 7:30 or something like that.
I don't think the parade started
No, the parade
much
started
later.
late,
After
about
10:30.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, so then you could do the math and you could figure out just from looking at
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so you'd have to have some knowledge of that from previous experience. Thank you. So I just want to mention that this is not going to have any impact on our general funds. Okay, so where is this money coming from? The savings from salary vacancies expected to be realized for fiscal year of 2018 to 2019. No budget adjustment is required at this time. Okay, and so the additional costs will be basically would not hit our general fund. And with that, I'd like to move to approve 8.2.
I'd like to clarify, I have to.
Second.
That this is general fund money, but it's not an additional appropriation required by the
It's
council.
not an issue, correct?
All right,
I'd like to make a
second motion.
comment. I'd like to make a comment, please. I spoke with my first city council meeting. I asked the city council to support the TED Parade organizer, and I would like to have an opportunity to explain. The TED Parades is a outstanding event. It showcases the cultural richness of the city. And it's been run by a very qualified group of organizers since 2014. Even though we spend the city money, but we need to support this event, which run entirely by fundraising. They have to spend approximately over $160,000, something like that. We don't want to make the same mistake that Garden Grove did to the TED festival, which really upset the college students. And then they have to move to Orange County Fair. And Garden Grove doesn't have the TED Festival anymore. There's nothing to stop the city of the TED organizer to bring the event to the big street of Brookhurst in Fountain Valley or Garden Grove in the city of Garden Grove. And as I mentioned before, we need to support them. But we want no control of, we don't want to be part of the organizer of the TED Parade. For that very reason that once we be part of it, it's going to be a public event, and we have no control of who's going to be in there. The Vietnamese consulate in San Francisco might send a group of people down here to attend, and you have no right to say no. So I support this item.
All right, thank you so much. We have a motion and a second on the floor for this item. Vote, please.
That motion carried 5-0 to approve the proposal related to forgiveness of specific costs associated with the 2019 TEP Parade. And just to clarify, it's in the amount of $6,000.
Thank you so much. Now we have a comment from City Council agency member, including AB 1234 report when required. Councilmember Contreras.
Thank you. I know Commander Epstein already left, but again, I want to thank him for all his work on the homeless issue here in Westminster. I know he's put in a lot of time and put in some good planning and strategic efforts to deal with the situation we have. Again, really appreciate his work. I just want to, I know I mentioned it last week on pothole situation. It's just a growing issue, and I'm very concerned. I know it's nothing we've done intentionally, but with the rain, and I just think we really need to look at our pavement management plan. I just have a question, like what is the goal for repairing our streets, and are we on track to meet that goal?
As far as potholes, we've been actually taking it very serious, and I've been bringing extra staff for 2 Fridays in a row to catch up with potholes. So definitely we're making an impact, and then in the positive way. But as long as we have rain that's coming out, we're gonna still see that. But compared to other cities, I think we're doing very well. It's not a funding matter, it's just a matter of getting to them. But last Friday I brought extra staff to do overtime, and then this Friday I'm also bringing extra staff. So I am sure we will catch up with that. But as long as there's rain coming, we will still see that.
I understand that, but is there a way we can look at our pavement management plan and just see if we're on track, and if there's some adjustments we need to make, some revisions? Yeah. Honestly, I understand that the rain is part of it, but it just seems to be there's a little bit too much.
Yeah, if you look around all the cities, they all have the same problem, even worse than ours. The pavement management system we have is definitely nothing wrong with it, but with the rain, you never know where are the weak links in those streets that the potholes will show up. So we just have to be ready to do a cold mix until the rain goes away, then we can do the permanent fixing for that.
Okay, but can you look at the pavement management plan one more time just to make sure that we're on track?
Absolutely, no problem.
All right, thank you. And then,
Councilman, if I could just add, and you'll see more of this as we get into budget discussions, but we do not have nearly the amount of funding for streets that we used to have. That is a fact. We're several $1 million less annually than we used to. So even though Marwan's telling you that we're going to be able to get to the potholes, the overall conditions of the streets is a serious issue. We're not as well equipped as we used to be when we had the redevelopment agency fund. So it's going to continue to be a challenge, and I don't want to sugarcoat it.
No, I understand, and I just want to, which is why I want us to look at that pavement management plan. Given the limitations that we have, what can we do to just target some of those hot spots? Because, I mean, there's some areas that are just terrible. I mean, I don't even want to start listing them off. I could create you a list, but some of these holes are looking at least like 2 feet and, 12 feet deep on Brookhurst. I mean, that's a main street with a lot of traffic, and it could be a really hazardous condition for anyone driving on that area.
Sure. So, I mean, I would encourage, you, and I know you've been active, but anybody out there, please report the potholes, because there are some that staff probably doesn't even know about, or they're busy filling others. But then when it gets back to the pavement management system, the pavement management system identifies areas of the city that are coming up based on their lifespan of the street and when they should be addressed. So whereas once we were able to hit a street every 7 years, now it's more like every 10, and it's getting worse. Yeah. So the pavement management system doesn't just pave the streets. It tells you when you need to pave a street. Right. But if you can't get to it because of budget, then you're falling behind, and we're falling behind. So I just want to make that clear. Okay. And I think you're owed a more detailed explanation, and we'll get you one. But streets is going to be a challenge for the foreseeable future.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Just want to, again, hope that we'll continue to be mindful and do with what we got. And then for the sake of time, I want to call for an item for the next agenda, give staff time to review, do some research, to see what it would cost. It's obvious. Our population, obviously we have people attending that come to the meeting and they want to speak at the dais. And sometimes language is a challenge. And I like to see what it would cost for us to have translation services for Vietnamese-speaking residents. And Spanish hasn't been an issue at the moment, but Vietnamese clearly seems to be the one that comes up more than not. Just want to see what the cost would be to have something like that available to our residents. And then two, looking also at our website. I mean, Councilman Doe mentioned it today. Why isn't it accessible in Vietnamese? I mean, that just simple things that we could look into, and I'd like to see what the cost would be that, and bring an item back for us to vote on and decide whether we want to move forward with such a thing. Again, in the interest of support for our residents and communication, and it would just be helpful for all of us to hear what every resident's concerns are and what they might have, and communication is key. Thank you.
I think both of those we can address. Translation services, we do have Vietnamese speaking staff. We just have to basically order them to be here every meeting, and whether they're needed or not. So there's some overtime expense. With the website, we'll see what we can do better. There is an ability to translate the site through the site, but maybe it's not highlighted well enough. So, but the idea of having mirror sites, that's maybe a little more problematic and costly, but people can translate the site, but we could do better to educate them how to do it. So.
And that's part of the challenge. Is it's kind of like when people hand out flyers that say in English to someone in Vietnamese, that said these flyers are available to you and translate for you in Vietnamese, but it's a fine print in English. That's kind of the situation we have with this website. You have to kind of like dig around for it, and if you don't read English or you haven't challenged, you're not gonna be able to find it. So. Can we just look in to see the cost and see what that would be, and if it's extraordinary, then we'll deal with that from that point?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Doe.
Well, I just want to thank you, Councilman Contreras, for bringing up the issue to have a Vietnamese translator, as well as the web page in Vietnamese. I really like the San Antonio's City of San Antonio web page that have a little tab to say Espanol. You click on it, and they have a totally complete web page in Spanish, virtually everything. That's one of thanks to the police department, Chief Lallerback and Commander Upstill for doing a tremendous job providing services to the homeless people. And we all know that law enforcement is not trained to deal with homeless, but we always get shoved into the limelight. We're the first responder, and it's great. It's just like to see a lot of police department around the nation that team up with resources like mental health and community service. City Nest is new. We don't have it in Long Beach. But I talked to the commander Upstill personally, and I can hear his compassion, his care in doing police work and serving the public, protecting the public, but at the same time protect the constitutional right of the homeless people. So thank you very much, sir. Great job. I have received a lot of phone call relating to an event. I don't know how to address this issue since I'm new at this. Okay, so I have to wait until I'm public comment at this point. So correct me if this is an appropriate time to move up. A lot of people call me regarding the Valentine event at the Hilton waterfront in Huntington Beach, in which Councilman Charlie Nguyen and Vice Mayor Kimberly Ho was in attendance in the presence of a very controversial Vietnamese singer, Đàm Vĩnh Hưng, who's believed to be like a Communist Party for whatever reason. He's had to come to town in Westminster and perform and cause an uproar from the Vietnamese community, and that the police have to dispatch to handle the potential riots. They asked me what was the reason, if number one, was I invited? Number two, why would the city issue a certificate of appreciation to an event outside of Westminster? So, and another issue, they asked me to recall that certificate if I can. So I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So just want to wait until this time to make this comment. Right. Anyone care to respond?
Councilman Doe, so are you done? Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. So next, who would like to respond, or I go? Vice Mayor Ho, you'd like to go first?
I just relay the message. I try to attack anybody. Just want to know.
Okay, but you know what? Could we not have this back and forth? I mean, City Attorney, this is a comment. It's a time for comment, so I appreciate your comment, and I could answer that. Is the number one is, you know, when we went, I went there because I was invited by the owner of one of the jewelry stores from our city. She owns a business in the city of Westminster, and she is her store is located in at City of Westminster Mall. So the jewelry company is the one that was being recognized, so not herself. So I believe that was the purpose I was there. It was put on by one of the three companies. That's one of the three companies. And apparently myself, it was not advertised anywhere on the ticket, nor I was told, and I believe the organizers did not even know that the singer was going to come. So he came, you know, usually these things you come up on stage around, you know, at the start, at the very beginning of the event, and usually around 7 o'clock, 7-ish it started, and I believe it went all the way through the night until like 2 o'clock in the morning was the time that the event ended. I was not there for that long, and I basically left by the time Mr. Dalvin Hung came. So from what I know, you know, the event organizers said they sold a table to a group of people. And so it's like you and I, like we go, if we were to purchase a table for 10 and we distribute the tickets to our friends. Well, they didn't know that one of the friends was Dalvin Hung. So anyway, my conscience is very clear about that. So I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to explain. And the recognition is because she owns a business in the city. Okay, so since it's my turn to speak, I wanted to, you know, I wanted to make sure we clarify. It's on a different topic. When we talk about staff, I just want to clarify, because I think there's been so much misunderstanding on this council that it just leads to a lot of, you know, it's just not a very good start of a relationship that we could have on this council. So when we talk about staff, I just want everyone to know that we're talking about there's approximately 300 people on staff. Correct me if I'm wrong, our city manager. Roughly 300.
Yes, with full and part-time.
Yes. So when we talk about staff, we're not talking about the 300. We're talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, again, the directors, the assistant city manager, and the city manager. How many are we talking about? Our directors, like for instance, Ms. Dana Daubert, who's in front of me, usually these at city council meetings, is it correct that, what do you call them? The directors, the assistant manager, and yourself, Mr. Eddie Manfro, the manager. What do you call that group?
The department heads, my executive team.
Okay, your executive team. But many of us use this word staff to refer to your executive directors. And so I feel that's really a big misunderstanding. So I'd like everybody to understand when they talk about staff, they're referring to 300. And I really don't think anybody is talking directly to the 300 people. Okay, I know that I talk to the executive members. So that would be the directors, they're required to be here when we have council meetings. That way we could talk to them directly when it comes to an agenda that they are responsible for. And I see Mr. Marwan. who's also another director, and Sherry. So our, what should I call you, financial
Director.
financial executive director. And so I believe that there's a lot of misunderstanding. And so I think that from now on, let's refer to executive directors, or is that all right, Eddie? But we should not refer to staff. We don't talk to 300 staff. We're only talking to the directors, the assistant manager, and the manager. So if that's what we mean, then we should be calling them what? Executive staff?
You're asking me how to refer to the department heads?
Yes.
You could refer to them just as department heads or the executive staff?
The executive staff, okay? So let's not cut it short and say staff and get people upset. And they think that we're going directly to the 300 staff members. We just don't. Okay, I hope that clarified some. Okay?
But you still have to go through the city manager in order to get the information you want from your staff, even the department head.
Well, our city manager already clarified that last week. So if he's, or last meeting, if he's in charge, I don't want it to be a back and forth again. Okay, so I would like maybe put that on the agenda if you like. We could talk about that, how we should be addressing our executive directors, or how should we collaborate, okay? But I believe if we said Mr. Eddie Manfro, our manager, is in charge, he spoke very clearly, okay? And he said, quote unquote, correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie, if you're speaking to my directors or my assistant manager, you are speaking to me, okay? So if I'm wrong about that, please let me know, okay?
No, that's pretty much what I recall.
Yes, that's what I thought so. So, I just don't want this misunderstanding creating problems again. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Vice Mayor Hall, next. Councilman Nguyen.
I know it's late in the night, and I like to refer back to the AB 1, 2, 3, 4 again. You know why I have to tell you that I felt putting down as an elected official, and I want to hold my high standard? Let me tell you, and then let me ask the mayor and the council members. You heard from Council Member Doe. This body assigned me as a spokesperson to go to the meeting. And I know my responsibility. I take charge in my roles and responsibility. I don't need anybody to remind me of what I need to do. You heard that. I don't know how you feel. But he said what? I am there to police you. Let me ask the mayor and also the council and also the staff. If you trust me and you assign me to do that, I know what I'm doing. I hold my standard. If you guys are asking him to be there to police me, I want to verify whether you guys did that or he did it on his own. I would like to ask the mayor and also the council member, as well as the city managers and the city attorney. You heard that already. I'm there to police you. I want to let you know that's the mentality of the council right now. We need to work together. Well, we don't need to be policing different members of the council when they know exactly. You have to hold your standard. You don't go around and look at this person that way, this way and that way, and you have doubt in them. How can you work together when you have doubt in them? You have to have yourself in the higher standard. Okay? That's why I felt, I don't know how you feel, but I'm hurt by that comment. You heard that very loud and clear, Council Member.
Can I respond?
Now, the second one, I'm sorry, it's my turn that I need to finish it. The second one about Dam Vĩnh Hưng is a very controversial person. Okay? Now, it's totally forced, and we shouldn't be bringing it up here and talk about it. Now, let me tell you why. It's already wrong from the community standpoint. And as a council member, we need to talk to each other. And as a matter of fact, we have clarified that on we go on media and clarify that. Now, they were looking at the picture. There are two pictures. And we were there on stage, and Councilmember Ho presenting the plaque. Now, because of those people stand there, they thought one of them is Đàm Vĩnh Hưng, the controversial person that we're talking about. That's not the guy. I'm sorry to say, that's not the guy. And here the community is saying that, okay, because they just label us as a communist. And they said that we actually present the plaque to the communists. Now, let me tell you, the city of Westminster have come up with different ordinance and resolution to prevent the communists to be here. And we are not doing that. We are being labeled. We are being suffered by that. And now here at the county, at the city, we are once again being labeled as that. You know, whatever it is, we need to find out. If that is the case, he can always talk to us. Hey, is that true story? Is that true? Now, it was wrong from the beginning, and we clarify that, and now it's wrong again. And I think it's just a waste of time. You know, the mentality is, you know, the council members of this body here, in the meeting, assign me to go to the meeting and listen to what they said and come back, and I did exactly what I just did. And I did not tell anybody, not talk to anybody besides city manager. And what I told the city manager told me that you can do an oral report. That's all. I didn't even tell him anything. Now, I'm surprised, but I wasn't thinking the way that he said, I am there to police you. That's the mentality that I'm talking about here. Now you know how I feel. That we, the elected official, we have to hold a high standard. I'm not used to that because I do with what the public trusts in me, and I will deliver it. If I do something wrong, I am guilty with the court of law. I am guilty with the people who entrusted in me for the council, for this council member. So I will once again to let you know I'm hurt with the statement. I am there to police you. Number one, he has no role to be there because this body here assigned me to go there, and I hold my responsibility to go there and do exactly this body want me to do. And I'm surprised. I'm very surprised by hearing what he said.
If I could just interject really quickly, the name, you know, thank you for the comment, but I just wanted to tell you that the person that I was on stage with, yes, they did think that I was standing next to Đàm Vĩnh Hưng. And, you know, when I went on stage, before I went on stage, I really didn't know the name of that guy. I asked the person next to me, is that guy who came by, the same guy, stood with me on stage? I asked the lady next to me, I said, that guy who just came by and asked, how are we doing with our food? I asked her, I said, is he a waiter? And she laughed at me. She said, oh, no, he's not a waiter. He's a director of a movie. And that's who stood next to me on stage, a director of a movie. And I really don't know what movie. His name is Gung Ngo. So if you need to, make it public and you want to tell your friends, you want to tell people, that is not Dam Vinh Hưng, okay? He came, what time he came, I heard the next day, I heard he came like around 11, okay? I went on stage around 7-ish, 8 o'clock. The person, again, next to me, whom I thought was the waiter, turned out to be the director, a movie director, Kung Ngo. Thank you. I hope that ends everything. Thank you.
Well, you know what? I did not say I was there to police you. This is exactly what I said. I was there to make sure you was there. And it was as a joke. I was there, but when I see you, I quickly left after a couple of minutes. And because I know that you were there to report back. But the first meeting with the TED organizer, you did not report anything back at the next city council. So that's why I just want to swing by to see if you're not there. I want to sit down and listen to what they have to say. Another thing is that true about the Dam Vinh Hưng and all that stuff? I don't know. I wasn't there. And I only report back what the people have called me, been contacted me. And it's my job at the city council to represent the people and answer their questions. And they don't know what to do. All you have to do is just explain yourself, and that's it. I'm not making any accusation. I wasn't there. And saying that you hurt and all that stuff, too drama. Really? So all you have, even if you were there and I were there, does it make any difference? This is a free country. We all get invited. It's your job to go to the meeting and report back to the city council. I let you do that. I don't jump all over the place. I was there because I want to be there. But then when I see you there, I quickly left. I did not know about all the detail about the budget and the overrun cost for the TED parade. I did not know all that stuff. All right. It seems to me like every time I say something, you always pick a fault and try to come back and attack.
No, sir. Let me respond.
Well, every time I say something, that's exactly what happened.
Let me respond.
Do you need to do that?
No.
Every time I talk to you, yeah, we want to work together. But then every time I say something on the dice, and that's exactly what kind of response I have.
Let me respond to that. Now, you all heard that I said that I was there and Council Member Doe was there. And now I ask if you want to report anything. I'm asking politely if he's want to report anything before I report myself. I didn't say anything. Now because I am with good intention that, okay, if you want to report anything, then you go ahead and make it first. And then I will do my part. Okay, simply is that. Okay, the second thing is that I am stunned when he came out and said, I am there to police,
I did not say I was there to police you.
Right, you were there to watch me if I'm there. What is that means? I don't want to say any more about it.
All right. Mr. Mayor. All right. Excuse me. So, all right, Council Member, I understand that you want to bring up anything happen in the community to inform the member from the public. However, there are some issues that I hope that we going to set aside, and I hope in the future, all members of the City Council, we come to work together. I understand that we are different. We have a lot of events that we have to go, and you're more than welcome to go any event that you are invited. But I hope in the future that if you have any concerns that you think that may create some of the tension in meeting, please try to avoid that and talk to each other. I believe that a member from the public, they want to see that we all work together to move on the city forward. So I hope that after this meeting, we going to set aside any conflict, any issue that we may have. I hope.
So am I correct bringing that issue up at this particular time of the meeting? I mean, just want to know, because, I don't want to call anybody up and then they're going to blame me that I violated the Brown Act for having a serious meeting. That's the reason why I haven't talked to anybody in person. Does it make any sense?
Okay, you can always talk.
When do we do it? When do we do it with something
right?
like this and I have to address the issue on the behalf of the people?
Just one point I want to make it clear that he said that I didn't report the first meeting.
Can I have the...
All right. So, I mean, I respect all members of the City Council. I totally respect that. You're more than welcome to bring up any issue that you believe that really benefit members from the community. However, I truly believe that the community, they want to see all 5 of us, we work together. And if we bring up any issue, we try to understand, we try to learn from each other, or we try to help other members of the City Council, rather than we bring up the issue and we create more tension. That's what I want to say. But I totally respect, all of your point of view. You're more than welcome to say anything you believe. I hope after the meeting, we all come back and work together. All right? All right? So with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. And the next regular meeting will be on Wednesday, March 13, 2019, 7 p.m. in the council chamber. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, city staff. I'm sorry you have to stay this late.